Wrigley Field. It is the NLCS on FS1. Dodgers, Cubs, what a series it should be, and away we go.
It's been said that the future belongs to those who believe in the beauty of their dreams. A summit many strive for, but few attain. Tonight, two teams will fight for that future. For the Dodgers, their playoff run has been straight out of a Hollywood script.
The Los Angeles Dodgers heading to Chicago.
Now LA will look to bring its West Coast swagger into the Windy City. But Chicago is in the midst of their own magical season.
And the Chicago Cubs are moving on to the National League Championship Series.
And are on a quest to reclaim their first pennant in 71 years.
You never know unless you give it.
The future is now. Who will make the most of it? Game 1 of the NLCS is next.
Chris Bryant. He's played 14 career games against the Dodgers. He's hit 7 home runs, looking to stay hot against that club for Game 1 tonight from Chicago. And Corey Seager, the young shortstop, the star for LA. 3 hits in the first round, 2 of them were home runs. And we take up the first pitch. What a scene on the corner of Sheffield and Waveland, just across the street from Murphy's. And the fans are raring to go here in Wrigleyville. Some scene. They've been out here all day long, ready to cheer on their Cubbies. Look at this. Can you get a better picture than that? Hard to do. Welcome to the Lincoln Motor Company NLCS pregame show here on FS1. There we are. Right beyond center field, Wrigley behind us. And so are you, and glad to have you aboard. What a night, what a series this should be. Welcome to our set here. This is pretty good, huh, guys? We've got Frank Thomas, Pete Rose, Alex Rodriguez, Tom Verducci, and I'm Kevin Burkhardt. Guys, I don't know if you know this, but Frank is a pretty big deal in Chicago. It's your city, pal.
Pete, if you didn't know, I live here.
Yeah, I went to a restaurant last night, and they added an extra 40% onto my tab.
Pretty big tipper, too. But let me tell you about the atmosphere.
Actually, you're a big man everywhere,
Well,
Frank.
let me tell you, what about the atmosphere in this place?
Unbelievable.
This city is ready for a winner.
On fire.
After 108 years for the Cubbies, the North Side.
Wow.
The optimism started 2015 with the hire of Joe Madden, with a wonderful wild card run last year. But this year, they believe they can win it all. This team is very good. I think they got the goods, but we're going to find out starting tonight with the NLCS with the Dodgers.
Big blue machine.
You like the Cubbies?
That's the Cubs, the big blue machine.
What's it like walking around this town, Alex?
I mean, we went to dinner out last night, Kevin.
Yep.
The city was on fire, is excited. It feels a little bit like Notre Dame versus USC, and for a player, it's a dream scenario.
It's pretty good,
It's
Tom.
the best atmosphere in baseball, right? Especially this time of year. But you guys know, when you played at Wrigley, the first thing you did before you got to the park, check those flags. And guess what, guys? It's blown out hard. This is a small Wrigley Field tonight. We think about guys who impact the game. I think about Paul Nauert. He's the home plate umpire. Both starting pitchers want to define the strike zone as low as they can, bottom of the zone. Early in the game, watch out for those calls.
I didn't. Did you get an invite to dinner last night?
Did you go to the north side or the south side? Don't
Pete,
go to the north side, mention
Pete, if
Frank.
you came, they would have charged us double.
Listen,
Exactly.
when you come to this ballpark and the wind's blowing like it is tonight, it made me a home run hitter, and I never hit home runs. So you got to keep that ball down tonight. Anything up in the air is going bye-bye, baby.
Yeah, and there it is. You see, that's the flight pole in left field. It is blowing straight out of here, so that is going to be a factor tonight. At least it could be. You know who likes that? The hitters, guys. And Justin Turner is a hitter. What his first round he had? He hit 400 against the Nationals in that NLDS. And he's standing by with our Ken Rosenthal.
Thanks, Kevin. Justin, no secret you guys have struggled against left-handers this season. What do you have to do tonight against Lester to succeed?
Yeah, you know, we've heard it all season long about the left-handers, and it's a little bit different now. We're in the postseason, all that stuff goes out the window, and it's about scratching and crawling and finding ways to battle at bats and find our way on and push some runs across the board. So we just got done having a meeting in there about how we're going to go about attacking them and you know, trying to be successful against them.
Justin, thank you. Good luck. Kevin, back to you.
Hi, Kevin.
Thanks, Justin. Hi, too, and Ken Rosenthal. So, look, I think the Cubs are our favorites in this series. Yeah, Pete.
Can I ask you a question, Alex?
Sure.
You said they had a meeting about how we'll go about hitting Lester. How do you go about hitting Lester?
19-3. I hope it was a long meeting.
I mean, you hit off him several times, right?
I've hit against John Lester an awful lot. Look for him tonight to pepper the strike zone with fastballs and cutters early. With 2 strikes, he's going to do one of 2 things. He's going to go let her high with the fastball,
right,
or he's going to throw an overhand curvthink looking for a chase.
But Alex, how can the Dodgers win? How can they win?
Well, there's a church around here somewhere. Look, I think the Dodgers have to ride the wave of beating the Nationals in 5 games. And to me, the one guy that John Lester better be careful with and maybe put a nice circle around him is Justin Turner, because he can beat him, and he can beat him in a big way.
Yeah.
For me, they got to wake up in October and figure out how to hit the left-handed pitcher. It's bothered them all year long. They're facing an excellent one tonight. Could be the Cy Young winner. If they win this series, they got to beat John Lester twice, and that's a big task for the 2016 Dodgers.
How are you going to sleep all summer and wake up in October to face a left-hander?
That's what they got to do if they're going to advance.
Easier said than done, pal.
You know, if you're in the Dodgers clubhouse right now, I know it's a big task to beat John Lester twice. But they can say, hey, we just beat Max Scherzer twice, so why not us?
They got to feel good about that, Tom. But give me something for the Dodgers here.
Yeah, that meeting they had, that started yesterday, by the way. It just broke up. I don't see them beating left-handers. They haven't done it all year. They must win the games that Clayton Kershaw starts. You have to start with that. But hitting lefties is tough. My wild card is Kike Hernandez.
Yes.
Wasn't even on the roster last time. He likes to hit the ball out in front against Lester, the way he works inside. I actually like that matchup.
You know, and you should, because Lester started twice against the Dodgers this year. They didn't do anything against him. They scored 1 time. It was a Kike Hernandez home run. So there you go. That's why he's in the lineup playing second base here tonight. The Dodgers against lefties. Why? Why are they so vulnerable, Frank? I know they have a lot of left-handed bats, but, you know, just...
They have a lot of great left-handed hitting, but my X factor, Yasiel Puig. If Yasiel Puig wake up in this series and have an MVP series, they could be the Cubs.
Well, we'll see if they get started tonight. One note, too, just 22 teams in the wild card era have won 100 games. 22 of them, only 2 have won the World Series. 98 Yanks and your 09 Yanks. That is it. So we'll see if the Cubs can break that and get to the World Series. How about the ALCS? They've already played 2 games in that series.
Wow.
This one earlier today. The Indians with a 2-0 series lead. They win it 2-1 today over Toronto. And here's the story. Alex, you've been on this whole postseason. Your guy Andrew Miller has now recorded 11 outs in the first 2 games of the bullpen. He's struck out 10 of them. Incredible.
Yeah, for me, Kevin, he's head and shoulders the best reliever in the game, both on the field, and the value that he brings in the clubhouse with the young players is unbelievable.
All right, so they've played 2 games of that series, not one of this one yet, but the fans here in Wrigleyville, finish up your snacks, your drinks, get inside. We got a ball game to play here at Wrigley with the Cubbies and the Dodgers, game 1 of the NLCS. How about the Stars? We're going to show you. You don't see this. A guy warming up beyond the wall in the cage. It's Adrian Gonzalez. He's going to try and do some damage against this man, John Lester. Lester, 15 innings against LA this year, 1 run, 16 strikeouts. And so that's what we got. First pitch coming your way in 29 minutes on FS1. Come back.
You wanna prove you're the better man. You wanna reach for the things that nobody can. Well, hot blood love is gonna get
You sound like a man who is afraid that I am dead right.
You talk about the Cowboys and the Patriots like they're like your kids. What am I missing?
This is the place to be.
You won't listen.
I do not hate LeBron James. In fact, I like him. I don't like it.
I love it.
That's the hottest seat in sports media. This is undisputed.
Lease the exhilarating 2017 Lincoln MKZ for $349 a month, only at your Lincoln dealer.
This man creates software used by this bank to protect this customer who lives here and flies to Hong Kong to visit this company that makes smartphones used by this vice president, this little kid, oops, and this obstetrician who works across the street from this man who creates software. They all have insurance crafted personally for them. Not just coverage, craftsmanship. Not just insured, Chubb insured.
Ask any athlete, they'll tell you. It's all about footwork. That's why I wear Skechers with air-cooled memory foam. They look great, they feel great.
Skechers, the undisputed champion of comfort.
The hair on the face of a man is said to be as strong as copper wire. So what's a man to do? How about a razor with blades stronger than steel? The new Gillette Mach 3 is engineered to take on hair this tough. From metal stubble to manly stubble. The new Mach 3 with the world's #1 selling blades. Now starting under $10. Gillette, the best a man can get.
Welcome back to the Lincoln Motor Company NLCS pregame show on FS1. 28 years ago tonight, this unforgettable moment occurred.
And look who's coming up. But the game right now is at the plate. High fly ball into right field. She is gone. In a year that has been so improbable, the impossible has happened.
Well, Kirk Gibson's homer, certainly one of the iconic moments in baseball history, and you have to go back 80 years prior to that to find the Cubs' last World Series title. But even through this improbable drought, Cubs fans starting to think of what finally could be possible.
And good morning, Chicago. We are so excited about the NLCS. The city is electrifying. Go Cubbies!
I'm gonna tell you something that you all should know. Chicago is the greatest place I ever know.
Go Cubs, go!
Cubs!
Once you're a Cubs fan, you're a Cubs fan forever.
We Cubs fans, we're having a good time.
We got the right players in place. They've got the bullpen and the bats.
Are you guys excited for the Cubs?
They don't know anything about the curse.
They're coming up with a different way, and there's a different hero every day. You definitely feel it. It's a different experience here.
It's got to be the year. There's no question. There's no question.
It's always next year. Well, next year is this year.
Come on, you know they're going to blow it.
Everybody's flying the W flag.
103 wins. It does feel good.
I think we're all optimistic, and these guys just look like they're going to win.
Been waiting a long time. It's the year.
I'm gonna live in Chicago, the greatest place. Go Cubs! Go Cubbies!
Yeah, that brings you a little idea what it's like around the city. And how about an idea what it's like around us? It's some atmosphere right outside of Wrigley. We're right beyond center field. Welcome back to the show. Frank Thomas, Pete Rose, Alex Rodriguez, Tom Verducci, and I'm Kevin Burkhardt. How about the pitching matchup tonight? We should show you that. Here's what we've got. We've got John Lester and all his great postseason excellence on the mound for Chicago against Kenta Maeda, who did not have a good start in his postseason Dodger debut in round number 1. Now, we know about Lester and all the postseason success. More on him in a second. But for Maeda, maybe one advantage, Tom, is that he didn't face the Cubs this year.
And I think that is an advantage. I like the matchup, Maeda, on this team. I think he's a guy who uses all 4 pitches anytime, reminds me of Zach Greinke with a little hesitation in his delivery. And his 2-strike slider, for me, is the key against the right-handed hitters. So the fact that they have not seen a guy who's a little bit funky in Dodgers' favor. But listen, Kevin, he's not going to win the game. They ask him 2 times around the lineup, manage the game. 3rd time around, it's bullpen time for Dave Roberts.
Frank, does this stuff play? What do you think?
If Maeda wins this game tonight, he's got to work very hard to keep these great Cub hitters off his fastball. He's got to throw strikes with all his secondary pitches, and that's the only way you can keep a good fastball hitting team off the fastball.
Well, Tom was right. When I faced a guy I never seen before, it takes you 2 at-bats for you know what he throws. So if he's going to be out there by the 3rd time around, the Dodgers will be in good shape.
It certainly seems to be a plan with how Dave Roberts has handled it. How about Lester? You faced him enough in your career. About him with the Cubs and his excellence.
You know, Kevin, at a macro level, when he came here, it signaled to the baseball world the Cubs are here to win in a big way. I expect him to come out and throw bullets tonight. I expect him to throw out fastballs and cutters both sides of the plate, and I expect him to have a big, big night.
You guys agree?
I think so. Location is key for me for him.
1983, there's a reason why he was that.
No, the only thing is lineup-wise. Javi Baez, great in the 1st round. Joe Madden keeps him down in the order at number 7. Do you like that move?
Don't mess with what's working. You move him up, he'll try to do too much.
All right, we shall see. So that's the deal tonight. Baez down in the order where he's been. Kike Hernandez plays. He's got the only run for the Dodgers against Lester with a home run in one of those 2 starts that Lester made. And now we talk about predictions for this NLCS with Game 1 upon us. Frank, is it the Dodgers or is it the Cubs?
I'm going to go with the Chicago Cubs in Game 6. I said it earlier. I think the Cubs win the World Series this year. I don't want to get ahead of myself. They win this NLCS in 6 games.
Well, Dodgers had a wonderful year, but the Cubs get the broom out. They're going to sweep them.
Whoa!
Wow! Wow!
Whoa!
Petey's going for the broom. Oh! He's got the W, the white W flag.
Wow! Oh, Pete, you're loving this crowd. They love you right now, Petey.
Pete, you're just playing to the home fan.
Wow. Pete, you want to send him home before we start. Look, I think this is the Cubs here. I like them in Game 6, but I'm going to make a prediction. Dodgers tonight. They win the game tonight.
Dodgers against Lester tonight.
6.
Wow.
Yes.
That would be a shock.
Wow.
I like the Cubs in 6. I think the Dodgers' troubles against lefties are real. That's why I like Cubs.
We shall find out. Tom wasn't going to say Dodgers and then walk through these Cub fans to go do the field report for tonight. By the way, he's smarter than that. Everybody liking the Cubs tonight. I know they're fans.
Do it for Santo. Do it for Banks. Do it for Williams. Do it for Harry. Do it for Lou Boudreau. Do it for Jack Rittenhouse. Do it for every Cub fan ever.
Keep going, Pete.
Yeah.
What's up now?
Sandberg, Don Kessler,
Clint
Dunston.
Rob Huntley.
This week, it's the NFL on Fox. Carson Wentz and the Eagles battle Kirk Cousins and the Redskins. Then, in America's Game of the Week, Ezekiel Elliott and the Cowboys collide with Aaron Rodgers and the Packers. It all begins at noon Eastern, followed by a full day of action on Fox.
This is for everyone. Are you ready? We'll take 16 million tickets, 50,000 foam hats, 2 million of those, and 1 million with cheese.
Hot dog, hot dog. What do you want? Hot dog.
3 million hot dogs and goosebumps. We'll need billions of goosebumps. 1 million pre-game rituals.
Are you done?
What else do we need? Jerseys. We'll take all of them. And one almost perfect plan. Click, tap, dip, or swipe. Choose Visa, official payment partner of the NFL.
This sandwich is really bringing the heat.
Oh, speaking of bringing the heat. In this corner, weighing in at 6 ounces, the fiery ultimate chicken sandwich. Awesome. And his opponent, weighing in at $1.65, the caped carpooler, past his prime, Pete. And that's for you.
Ring the bell. The all-new fiery ultimate chicken sandwich is here. And try our new blast flavor funnels. This is how you Sonic.
Perhaps every day before now has, for the most part, been humdrum and inane. And suddenly, everything changed. My name is Dirk Gently. I'm a detective.
You're a detective who doesn't find clues. That sounds, insane.
I'm trying to decide whether you're a clue or an assistant. You are now a vital part of the investigation.
It is connected.
Series premiere, Dirk Gently's Holistic Detective Agency, Saturday, October 22nd at 9 on BBC America Channel 264.
So, the General can insure almost any car and any driver?
We sure can.
You know, I wasn't sure about the General when I was younger.
Well, we provided low-cost auto insurance for more than 50 years.
Hey, I'm not that old.
At the General, monthly payments are low with immediate online proof of insurance.
Get your anonymous online quote with low payments and ride with the General.
For a great low rate you can get online, go to the General and save some time.
You come at the King, you best not miss.
Conflict draws people in.
Culture of winning matters.
We're watching a revolution.
Speak for yourself. Weekdays at 5 Eastern on FS1.
This copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of the Office of the Commissioner of Baseball and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without express written consent.
It's a gorgeous evening in Chicago. High atop Wrigley Field, the wind is blowing straight out. Could be some offense tonight. Dodgers, Cubs. Time now for the starting lineups as we go to PA announcer Andrew Bellison.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, the starting lineup for the visiting Los Angeles Dodgers. Managed by number 30, Dave Roberts. Leading off for the Dodgers and playing in left field, number 47, Howie Kendrick. Hitting second at third base, number 10, Justin Turner. Batting third, number 5, the shortstop, Corey Seager. Hitting cleanup in right field, number 66, Yasiel Puig. Batting fifth and playing first base, number 23, Adrian Gonzalez. Catching and hitting sixth for the Dodgers, number 51, Carlos Ruiz. Batting seventh, second baseman, number 14, Kike Hernandez. Batting eighth, number 31, center fielder, Jock Peterson. Pitching and batting ninth for Los Angeles, right-hander, number 18, Kenta Maeda. And now the starting lineup for your Chicago Cubs. First, the manager, number 70, Joe Madden. Leading off and playing center field, number 24, Dexter Fowler. Batting second, the third baseman, number 17, Chris Bryant. Hitting third, first baseman, number 44, Anthony Rizzo. Batting cleanup, the left fielder, number 18, Ben Zobrist. Hitting fifth and playing shortstop, number 27, Addison Russell. Batting sixth, in right field, number 22, Jason Hayward. Hitting seventh, the second baseman, number 9, Javier Baez. Catching and hitting 8 for the Cubs, number 3, David Ross. Batting ninth and warming in the left field bullpen, left-hander, number 34, Sean Lester. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, please rise and kindly remove your caps as this evening's colors are presented by Marine Recruiting Station, Chicago. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, please remain standing and join John Vincent as he honors America with our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched was so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free? And the hope of the
Let's play some baseball. Dodgers and the Cubs. And we'll hand it over to Joe Buck and John Smoltz. They've got the call coming back after the break.
Real people, steel people. From full-time professionals to weekend warriors, they trust steel and servicing steel dealers. Right now, hardworking steel blowers start at $139.95 and get the powerful MS-250 chainsaw at a special price of $299.95. Find your steel dealer at steeldealers.com or search STIHL. Real people, steel people. Join us.
Upgrade season's here. I got my new iPhone 7 from Sprint.
Sprint? I'm hearing good things about the network.
All the networks are great now. We're talking within a 1% difference in reliability of each other. And Sprint saves you 50% on most current national carrier rates. And if you got 1% more haircut than me today, would you really pay twice as much?
No, I wouldn't.
Copy that.
Switch to Sprint and get iPhone 7, plus save 50% off most current national carrier rates. Don't let a 1% difference cost you twice as much.
Woo!
Geico Motorcycle. Great rates for great rides.
Domino's has a $7.99 Monday through Thursday carryout deal. But if you carried out Friday through Sunday, you might have felt bamboozled. So we're extending the deal to every day and giving people who paid more a little payback. Like the Smith family, who got free pizza for a year. They love pizza. We gave Brad a date with the Noid. You're welcome. And we gave Rajesh a nightlight. Payback. Go to pizzapayback.com for a chance to get yours. And carry out large 3-topping pizzas for $7.99. Now, every day.
Welcome to Wrigley Field and welcome to Game 1 of the National League Championship Series on FS1. How about this matchup for you? The Los Angeles Dodgers, winners of the West, taking on the Chicago Cubs, the team that had the best record in baseball. And now welcome inside the broadcast booth, everybody. I'm Joe Buck, the Hall of Famer. John Smoltz is coming right up. Well, the Cubs were supposed to be here, right? I mean, last year, yeah, they made the NLCS, but they were swept by the New York Mets. They spent a lot of money in the offseason to add some veteran grit to a lot of the good young core they already had here. What happened? The plan worked. They ended up with the best record in the major leagues, and they are in a great spot here starting this NLCS. Now, on the other side, Dr. Smoltz, let's talk about the Los Angeles Dodgers. How did they get to this spot in this NLCS?
It's amazing. 8 games back, they lose their star in Clayton Kershaw. Nobody thought they could catch the Giants. They did that, and they used their roster better than most. 31 pitchers, over 15 starters, and you think about the Dodgers and Dave Roberts in his first year of managing, he had to push more buttons for his team to even get to this point, so they utilized their roster about as good as you can.
Yeah, and for these two managers who have, I think, managed brilliantly so far this postseason, it's a different formula. I mean, for the Cubs, we're talking about starting pitching, and we'll be doing that all series, and for the Dodgers, it's a lot of work out of that bullpen.
Well, it is. This is a team that led all of baseball in innings pitched out of its bullpen. So Dave Roberts knows when he starts with a starter, it's not going to end with one. He's going to have to use about 4 or 5 guys. But for Joe Maddon, the formula is pretty simple. 4 dynamic, really 5 starters. But he's going to John Lester, and John Lester has been so good for the Chicago Cubs. He's dominated the second half. He could win a Cy Young. He's been unbeatable basically at home. 10-1 in the second half, and the only loss was his last start, a tune-up for John Lester. That rally by the Cubs allowed him to start Game 1 instead of a Game 5. And the only hiccups that he has is when runners get on base, they have a tendency that they could take the extra base. For John Lester at home, this crowd looks good for him.
Well, Kenta Maeda gets the ball for the Los Angeles Dodgers. We have to wait only until Game 2 to see the great Clayton Kershaw. Let's go. It's the second city against Tinseltown, the NLCS.
Overpack, but my guy knows what to bring, like Viagra single packs for ED.
Ask your doctor if your heart is healthy enough for sex. Do not take Viagra if you take nitrates for chest pain or Adempas for pulmonary hypertension. Your blood pressure could drop to an unsafe level. To avoid long-term injury, seek immediate medical help for an erection lasting more than 4 hours. Stop taking Viagra and call your doctor right away if you experience a sudden decrease or loss in vision or hearing.
Ask your doctor about Viagra single packs.
Ben Affleck is incredible in a film critics call. Jason Bourne meets the usual suspects.
Who are you?
I don't discuss client business. The Accountant, rated R.
You don't just watch TV, you love it. They're your shows. Watch them your way. Hey, this guy gets it. Get the new episodes the day after they air. Past seasons, too. Oh, that show be all right. Plus originals and exclusive series. The shows they're talking about. The ones they're texting about. Movies, they're TV, too. Don't forget the kids. What's up, guys?
What's up?
It's your TV. So's this. And this. And right now, you can get Hulu for just $5.99 a month. Don't just watch TV. Make it yours. Hulu. Come TV with us.
This beer gets straight to the point. It looks you in the eyes and firmly shakes your hand. Coors Banquet. That's how it's done.
You talk about the Cowboys and the Patriots like they're like your kids.
That's the hottest seat in sports media. This is undisputed.
MLB Tonight brings you closer to the postseason.
Oh my goodness! You can't script this stuff.
Closer to the big plays.
I really want to take a closer look at that one. Let's go look at it. You want to break it down? Yeah.
And closer to the World Series.
This is like got that warrior feeling.
The analyst of MLB Tonight bringing you closer to the game.
It's fun to watch.
It has just been non-stop action.
I spent many years as a nuclear missile launch officer. If the president gave the order we had to launch the missiles, that would be it. I prayed that call would never come. Self-control may be all that keeps these missiles from firing.
I would bomb the out of them.
I want to be unpredictable.
I love war.
The thought of Donald Trump with nuclear weapons scares me to death. It should scare everyone.
I'm Hillary Clinton, and I approve this message.
How tall are you?
How do we measure greatness in America? It's measured by what we do for our children. It's why, as president, I'll invest in our schools, in college that leads to opportunities, not debt, and an economy where every young American can find a job that lets them start a family of their own. I've spent my life fighting for kids and families. I want our success to be measured by theirs. I'm Hillary Clinton, and I approve this message.
Shot City, coming home again.
Did you know it's almost 70 degrees in Chicago on October 14, 2016, 68, and the wind is blowing out. The Cubs have made a roster move heading into this NLCS. For that and more, down to Ken Rosenthal we go.
Well, Joe, the Dodgers have struggled against lefties all year, batting .214 against them in the regular season, .160 in the division series. So the Cubs, trying to exploit that vulnerability, have added a fourth left-handed reliever for this series. His name, Rob Zastryzny. Rob Z, as he is known, had a big outing at Dodger Stadium on August 27th. He joins from the left side of that Cubs bullpen Travis Wood, Mike Montgomery, and of course, Aroldis Chapman. Now over to Tom Verducci.
Well, that's right, Kenny. No secret about the Dodgers' troubles against lefties, worse than all of baseball. So you look for your big right-handed bats to pick up the slack. That begins with Justin Turner. Here's the problem. Turner has struggled against lefties. He has struggled against John Lester. No hits and 11 at-bats. He has struggled against all the Chicago left-handers. 3 hits in 32 at-bats. To make history, the Dodgers are going to have to defy history. Joe?
Tom, thanks. Thanks to Ken as well. And away we go. John Lester, here's a lineup for the Dodgers as Dave Roberts thought about it long and hard. It's a different look. It's Howie Kendrick leading off in left, and Justin Turner batting second. Corey Seager hits third. Yasiel Puig is in right. Adrian Gonzalez at first. Carlos Ruiz does the catching, the longtime Philly. Kike Hernandez at second. He's added for this LCS. Jock Peterson in center. And Kenta Maeda pitches and bats ninth. What's the defense look like behind John Lester? Well, it's been a good defense in this postseason, and everybody's been talking about the second baseman, Javier Baez. But out in the outfield, it's Ben Zobrist in left, Dexter Fowler in center, and Jason Hayward in right. And then the typical infield look. Bryant, Russell, Baez, who's been a magician, and Rizzo, with David Ross, the 39-year-old catcher, catching John Lester. What do you expect
out of Mr. Lester tonight, John Smoltz?
Well, you could talk all night about how great he has been, and as he gets up there in age, he's had some of his best career numbers. Fastball, cutter, curveball, occasional change. With the wind blowing out, look for him to try and jam right-handers and pitch left-handers away.
Well, let's see if he can jam Howie Kendrick. Glad you're with us on FS1. Strike one. Again, it's Kendrick, Justin Turner, and Corey Seager for the Dodgers. Kendrick, the longtime Angel, now an outfielder with the Dodgers. And we may see a lot of this tonight, John, because John Lester does not like to throw the ball anywhere but from the pitching rubber to home plate. So they will test him and how good he is defensively.
Absolutely, you have to. And the defense for the Cubs, the corners know that. For Lester, he's hoping to get the leadoff runner out, of course, as every pitcher is, especially guys who can run.
That's foul. Give you the Lincoln Motor Company keys to the game.
Well, get them on and get them moving. I think for the Dodgers, they don't historically run a lot, but they're going to have to take and pick their spots. They have to create stress on the bases because John Lester has been not only great at home, but he's been great with runners in scoring positions. So you're not going to more likely get 3 or 4 hits in a row off John Lester.
Ball one to Kendrick. So the Dodgers come into this series because they had to go the full 5 games, and all the work they got out of their bullpen in that series against Washington a little bit backward. And they have Maeda going tonight. They are pushing that man, Clayton Kershaw, to tomorrow night. But short rest. Coming off that save in game 5. Cubs in much better position as they made quick work of the Giants in 4. Didn't have to go to the 5th game. Didn't have to burn Lester on Thursday. And Ross goes out to talk. This was before the game. Is this a good sign or a bad sign, John?
I think it's just a rally, right? They're all in it together, trying to do their best. Of course, we got instant replay. But each one of those guys obviously added to a normal crew. Newer behind the plate.
Kendrick stays up there, and the count stays 1-2.
Kendrick struggles against left-handed cutters on the year, and of course John Lester has really developed. He used to be fastball in, cutter in, everything firm, and now he's got command on both sides of the plate. That's why he's having a fantastic year, and he has done pretty well with Paul behind the plate as the umpire.
1-2 is outside. 2-2, and Kendrick's putting together a good at bat. This is the 15th career postseason start for the 32-year-old left-hander John Lester in his 2nd year in Chicago. 2-2. Bryant came in, stops, throws, got it, one away.
Besides strikeouts, if John's on his game against the right-handers, that's what you should see. Bryant getting a lot of jammed right-handed hitters because Lester can cut that ball in, and occasionally he'll throw that changeup if he thinks he's cheating in. As we mentioned, and as Tom Verducci said, this guy right here has gotten hot for the Dodgers, but he has yet to have success off of Lester.
He's got 10 straight games during postseason play, reaching base 2 times or more. And he is trying to get something going here with 1 out, and Corey Seager, the rookie shortstop, on deck. That won't do the trick. Russell. 2 up, 2 down, and 2 ground balls to the left side off Lester. And Seager bats with the bases empty. For coverage of this game in Spanish, please tune to Fox Deportes. Today is the last day of National Hispanic Heritage Month, which started on September 15th. Here's Seager.
Well, here's your rookie of the year, and he'll get some MVP votes. You see that average. 3 of those hits have come in the 1st inning. You see the 2 homers that he has been able to deliver. This guy, the best hitter on the Dodgers, and he's a rookie, even though he played a little bit last year.
Came up at the end of last year, was involved in the postseason in that series against the Mets, and here he is on with another 1st inning base hit. So that's 4 hits this postseason for Corey Seager, and all 4 have come in the first inning.
Well, the alarm clock definitely works, right? Start of the game. He likes the first pitch, as do most young hitters. And he picks on the first fastball he sees from Lester, takes it right up the middle.
A guy like Seager is one of those who just looks like he's been around longer than he has. The game doesn't seem too fast for him. He plays shortstop. You said early in the regular season, John, that you think he's an MVP type candidate. Forget about absolute rookie of the year. Here's Yasiel Puig. It's been a steady decline for Puig since bursting onto the big league scene with that huge month of June as he tanks low for ball 1. That came in 2013. Was a player of the month, had 44 hits, which was the second best first month in the big leagues hits wise, behind a guy named DiMaggio. He had a good season in 13, not as good in 14, not as good in 15. This year he was down in the minors, and he chops to the left side. Russell getting over, and Lester gives up the 2-out hit. Bottom of the first. Cubs batting at Wrigley. No score.
Call you back. Is this my car?
State Farm knows that for every one of those moments,
This is ridiculous!
there's one of these.
Is this my car? What? This is ridiculous.
This can't be happening!
This can't be happening.
Oh, it's happening, sweetheart.
Oh, it's happening, sweetheart.
Shut up.
Shut up!
That's why State Farm is there.
What a day.
With car insurance for when things go wrong.
What a day!
But also here with car loans to help life go right. State Farm.
I'm Ryan.
Ryan, nice to meet you. I'm John.
Elena.
Nice to meet you.
Where's the rest of the car?
This is the new 2017 Chevy Cruze. I'm only going to show you half of it. What do you think? I think it looks very sleek.
The lights remind me of Audi lights, which is pretty neat.
I'm really curious to see the rest of the car if I get to.
It has built-in 4G LTE Wi-Fi.
I like that.
It comes with Apple CarPlay compatibility, and it starts at $22,190.
Nice. That's a great price.
I'm impressed.
But there's another side to this car.
Oh, wow.
Aaron loves it.
This is the first ever Chevy Cruze hatch.
Wow.
Well, that's impressive.
So check it out.
There's a lot of space.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I do like it a lot.
What's your first impression of seeing the whole car now?
Looks good from all angles.
It actually reminds me of like a small SUV.
Let's see what we got in here. This is probably a tent. Shuttlecock. Anybody? You want to go in the lake, Ryan?
Yeah, let's go.
Now that you know it's a hatchback, what does it make you think of?
Me, I want to drive it.
Like a young professional / weekend warrior, the whole business in the front, party in the back sort of thing.
Stop. With that box, you'll be the first to win PlayStation VR. Player 1. Soon, it spreads like wildfire. Humanity becomes so plugged in, we never see them coming. That's why I was sent back to stop you.
Oh, hey, I won.
Right.
The future of gaming starts at Taco Bell. Grab any $5 box and you can be one of the first to win PlayStation VR.
Enjoy your phone.
You too. All right, be cool. You got the amazing new iPhone 7 on the house by switching to AT&T. What? And you got unlimited data because you have DirecTV? Okay, just a few more steps.
Door!
It's cool.
Get the iPhone 7 on us and unlimited data when you switch to AT&T and have DirecTV.
The 2016 postseason is in full swing. On-field tees, hoodies, jerseys, caps, and more. MLBshop.com.
Welcome back to the NLCS on FS1. Tonight's telecast is presented by T-Mobile One. Glad you're with us tonight on FS1. Joe Madden. Typical lineup. Those numbers on the right, what they did in the NLDS. Fowler, Bryant, Rizzo. Zobrist, Russell, Hayward, Baez, Ross, Lester, the bottom 3. Here's Kenta Maeda. Ball 1 outside. Maeda was not good in his divisional series start against the Nationals. Lost 8-3 last Monday in LA, went only 3 innings. But really started out the month of September red hot for the Dodgers. Won 16 games as Fowler takes a strike.
Yeah, that game in LA, Joe, started with an 0-2 mistake, and then they scored 4 runs off of him in 3 innings. Fastball command's going to be huge. He'll mix in a changeup split, but loves his slider with an occasional curveball.
That drills the inside corner, strike 2.
Fowler's not afraid to work the count. Leadoff hitter, when he goes, the Cubs go. He's not afraid to hit with 2 strikes. He can foul off a lot of pitchers' pitches with the best of them. Loves the sinker from the right-hander.
Maeda has him set up. That's into right center field. A base hit and a good start for Chicago.
It's interesting. I saw just watching the game that Maeda pitched. He got in trouble when he tried to elevate the ball up, and he never got the ball exactly where the catcher wanted. But in this case, he did. Probably going with the 4-seamer, and I think Fowler, again, not afraid to hit with 2 strikes. Set the tone for now. The MVP's coming up. Bryant and Rizzo.
Well, this was a Cubs team that hit only 200 in that divisional series win over the Giants, the 4-game series. Bryant was not part of the problem. Went 6 for 16. Hit a home run, drove in 3. Had a big game-tying 9th inning 2-run shot in game 3, the one that lasted 13 innings. The guy behind him struggled. That's Rizzo. Maeda trying to get around that leadoff hit. Fowler starts and stops on strike 1. In case you're wondering, Dexter stole 13 during the regular season. Joe Maddon could have moved Bryant out of that number 2 spot. It's something he thought about coming into this series, but he said, I just don't want to mess with him. He's too hot right now. He's too settled in. From Rookie of the Year last year to possible MVP, and that's down, ball 1.
You know, in a perfect world, if you could have a regular season lineup that gives them the extra at-bats in the number 2 spot and then switch them to the number 3 spot in the postseason, that's a pitcher's nightmare. It lengthens the lineup, but as you just mentioned, Joe does not want to mess with the psyche of Bryant. He's doing well, and if Rizzo does his part, it's all a moot point. But I'd much rather face Bryant as a pitcher in a postseason in the 2nd spot than the 3rd spot, with Zobrist being in front of him, creating more traffic and tougher to pitch to that lineup.
Problem is, then there's no protection for Rizzo. Here's a 1-1. That's foul. Right now, the protection for Rizzo is Zobrist in the cleanup spot. Joe Maddon said, well, for the switch hitter, other teams respect Ben more when he's batting left-handed, as he will be tonight against Maeda. Different story against left-handers, so we could see a different look as we go through this series. 1 ball, 2 strikes on Bryant. Leadoff hitter Dexter Fowler reached for the base hit into right center. Numbers that Bryant has put up, as you see what he did during the regular season, this is a kid, and he is still that. 65 home runs in 2 years in the big leagues. Great lift on the ball. He waits. He hits into left. Back is Kendrick. Will get it off the wall. Fowler around 3rd. He'll score, and Bryant has put the Cubs on top in the 1st.
Two strikes. He goes with the slider. The slider is much more enjoyable for Bryant than the curveball, and with 2 strikes, he has improved and cut down his strikeouts from last year. You see Kendrick trying his best to get back there. The ball carries and it hits off that wall. It's an easy run scored for Fowler.
As you watch Fowler, well, here's Bryant going to second. Fowler scoring easily from first base. Here's Dexter. There are left fielders who might have caught that ball. It wasn't a direct path for Howie Kendrick, but the Dodgers wanted his right-handed bat in the lineup. They're just piecing a lineup together. And Kendrick, his experience in the big leagues is more at second base. That is down to Anthony Rizzo.
Oh, this is where Rizzo has shined when runners in scoring position. You see his postseason career average, maybe presses a little bit, tries to do a little too much, but Joe Maddon was more confident in Game 4 on his takes. The takes allowed him to not expand the strike zone, which he felt the Giants were not pitching to him, and he expanded the strike zone, and that's why you see the low average.
There's a 1-0. Good fastball from Maeda, 92.
You know, it's interesting here. The outfield wall's not padded at all. Don't be confused by that ivy. Going back and trying to get that fly ball, I'm sure Kendrick was aware of the bricks that are sitting underneath that almost dormant ivy at this time of the year, starting its way on that way.
Cubs have a first inning lead, have a chance for more. Runner at second, nobody out. 1-1 to Rizzo. Outside. Again, it would have been a tremendous catch by Kendrick if he got there and hauled that in.
The initial read, I don't think he thought the ball was going to carry that much.
I don't either, because Bryant basically hit it off balance. That's how strong Chris Bryant is.
Yeah, and you could tell when Bryant was running, he didn't think, based on the way he was running, that ball had the chance to get over the outfielder's head.
2-1 the count on Rizzo. Drove home 109 during the regular season. Strike 2.
Well, Rizzo, as he famously does now with 2 strikes, it's widely known now he'll choke up on the barrel, control the strike zone a little bit more with the bat, shorten it up, but he doesn't lose a lot of power when he does it. Most people think that goes to a 2-strike approach, but he will still hit home runs. 243 on the year with 2 strikes, which is pretty impressive because the league average is well below 200.
Rizzo flips one into left, and Kendrick is there for out number 1. So he did put bat on ball and becomes the first out in the bottom of the first to bring up Ben Zobrist. See if Maeda can settle down and keep this 1-run inning. Zobrist was brought in as a free agent, obviously played for Joe Maddon in Tampa Bay with the Rays. 3 for 16 this postseason, but a world champion with the Royals a year ago, and a guy who can play literally anywhere. Good contact hitter and change the feel in this lineup to make that a little more contagious, being more contact hitters throughout this starting 8. That's a strike.
Well, what this lineup will do is they will be very patient. They let all of baseball on walks. Now, last year they let all of baseball on strikeouts. Part of the problem why maybe they didn't go as far, they ran into incredible pitching for the Mets. But they've cut down on those strikeouts by the acquisition of guys like Rizzo, Hayward.
There's a 0-1 pitch. Zobrist. That's in the air to left, and Kendrick coming to grab it. Out number 2, and Bryant has to dive back in. Well, let's see if Maeda can get around that situation with a runner at second and nobody out and a run home. Standing in his way is Addison Russell, who was 1 for 15 in the division series against the Giants.
It's an incredible psyche for a pitcher. When you only go 3 innings in your first postseason start, you want to get the jitters out, and then the first 2 runners reach and a run's in. So to say that those 2 outs were nerve settlers, now with 2 outs, the one thing that Maeda has not been great on the year has been with runners in scoring position. The average is way too high for a starter's liking.
The young shortstop off balance out in front of that pitch as Maeda took something off. Addison Russell, a .238 average, but hit 21 home runs. That's what he's done since the middle of September. It has not been good. More strikeouts than hits. Runner at second, 2 out, 1-0 Chicago, and that's off the end of the bat. Good job by Maeda to limit the damage. Dexter Fowler got on. Chris Bryant brought him home, and after 1 behind John Lester, the home team, the Cubs, lead 1-0.
Bum, 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 bum.
the two of us. We can make it if we try, just the two of us. You and I. Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, folks.
I had a question about the Ace Rewards program.
I reminded Hunter he'll earn rewards points on everything he buys.
Ace is a place where anyone can save with an Ace Rewards card, even those with a PGA Tour card.
Head into Ace and join Ace Rewards. Members enjoy exclusive benefits every day, including instant savings in-store, money-saving coupons, and much more. Join now and earn $5 off your next purchase. Only at Ace.
Someone created a plague. If I can break the code, we can stop this. On October 28th.
Florence, Istanbul,
Venice.
Look at this. There are clues all over the world.
And what's the message?
Seek and find.
A mystery only he can solve.
I will do everything I can to find it and stop this.
The worldwide phenomenon of the Da Vinci Code and Angels and Demons continues.
How much time?
We have 48 hours to stop an extinction-level event.
Inferno, rated PG-13.
Jack be nimble, Jack be quick. Jack knocked over a candlestick onto the shag carpeting, and his pants ignited into flames, causing him to stop, drop, and roll. Luckily, Jack recently had Geico help him with renter's insurance, because all his belongings went up in flames. Jack got full replacement and now has new pants he ordered from Banana Republic. Visit geico.com and see how affordable renter's insurance can be.
Experience every postseason moment with MLB.com at Bat, the #1 app for live baseball. It's the only place to get it all. Live radio feeds, video highlights, pitch tracking, StatCast, and much more. Download at Bat today. 1-0 Chicago. That was the final in Game 1 of the division series when Lester hooked up with Johnny Cueto. Home run by Baez in the 8th, and that was it. Here's Adrian Gonzalez. The Dodgers are a gritty team. What does that mean? I don't know, but announcers seem to say that a lot. But they come in with a lot of confidence after knocking out a very good Nationals team and doing it with seemingly their whole roster, a base hit into right. Second hit for the Dodgers, and Adrian Gonzalez, who loves hitting at Wrigley Field, is on to start the second.
Yeah, you can see how comfortable he is. I think he's got one of the prettiest left-handed swings, and if John Lester's going to give up a leadoff hit, this is the guy you want on the bases. I don't think he's a threat to steal, but for Adrian Gonzalez, he has his moments of power, but the way that he gets through the zone, can hit to all parts of the field, at least he used to, he leads off with a hit.
See that career slugging percentage here at Wrigley Field, a ballpark that dates back to 1914. Gonzalez, that slugging percentage, the 4th best among active players. Sights, the sounds, shots that we can get you from Wrigley Field are breathtaking. That's outside for ball 1 to Carlos Ruiz.
Well, John Lester's done a much better job from last year. 44 stolen bases out of 55 attempts. This year he's cut it down to 28. He's really quick to the plate, and of course David Ross does his part when throwing out runners.
Ruiz, who had a home run in the division series, fouls it back. The count evens at 1.
But the most amazing part to me, he rarely, if ever, throws over to first.
Well, I know it's like in golf, right? I mean, you don't like to use the Y word, yips.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's got that. He doesn't want to throw to first. He doesn't field his position well. He doesn't throw to bases well. It's a factor as he misses high to Carlos Ruiz, and it's something that the manager of the Dodgers, Dave Roberts, said we have got to take advantage of that. The Dodgers have to make him uncomfortable, however they're going to do it, on the mound here tonight.
Exactly. And it got exposed in that wild card game while he was with the Oakland Athletics.
Time call.
And that's what you have to do. So John is going to be as patient as he can, sometimes hold it a little longer than most, and then he has to get rid of it really quickly. You see the total bases in the last 2 seasons. And that wild card game really exposed it, because up until that point you never really heard much about it. And then that became the issue, and it became a throwing issue when the balls were back to him. And so this has become something that Joe Maddon has definitely said, I want you to do one thing, get the hitter out. and create less stress of thinking about that runner over there. And it showed this year. The numbers have been cut down.
Count's gone to 3-1 after the leadoff base hit by Adrian Gonzalez. Kike Hernandez in the on-deck circle. Ruiz should get something to drive here. And he fouls it, full count.
And here George Lombard over there at first base saying more, get a bigger lead.
It's unnerving to base runners when guys don't throw over.
Right. I mean, I would be so tempted right here, 3-2. I would send him. And he's not fleet-footed by any means, and neither is Ruiz.
Not going. Ruiz hammers it to Bryant. 1 out. And a bad break for the Dodgers as Carlos Ruiz hit it right on the nose.
And my point is, even if it doesn't work, you're putting the message out. You're going to make him work, and you're going to make him think about it. Now, this would have been a double play if my theory would have been going. But I think much like what the Giants did, you got to be able. You're not going to string more than likely 4 hits, 3 hits. At least that's the way the year's gone for Lester. So do whatever you can.
Well, here's Kike Hernandez, who was added to the roster for this round of the playoffs, was not available to Dave Roberts in the division series. He hit 190 during the regular season, did take John Lester deep this season, and now it's Adrian Gonzalez who bothered John Lester, who steps off. Ken Rosenthal, what do you have down there?
Well, he spent some time in Arizona working on his swing during the division series, returned home for Game 5, and watched the game on TV. Now, he said he upset his dog, also named Arizona, by yelling and screaming at the TV. The dog was freaking out. Then yesterday, after the win, he woke up at 3:30 a.m., got here to Chicago with a connection in Minnesota, and here he is.
Talking about Kike Hernandez, who's up with 1 on, 1 out here in the second, and that's a breaking ball in for a strike. Good pitch from Lester. And just to make one more comment before we beat this completely into the ground, but base runners, I remember Lou Brock always talking about this. Here's an 0-1. That is over but low, ball 1. When a guy doesn't throw over, it's like waiting at a traffic light, and you know it's going to turn green because you can see the other light on the other side, but there's that little bit of hesitation, like I'm not totally sure it's going to be green. That's the case with Lester. He doesn't ever show them his move over to first, so guys are never really totally comfortable. But he won't throw over. If he does, it'll be rare.
So you got 2 things going. As a base runner, if you get a big enough lead, the first sign of movement, you got to go. If you get a huge lead and you don't do that, you got to be prepared for David Ross back picking, which he's so good at. So you've got to make up your mind that I'm going. Once I get out there in the uncomfortable lead mode and I see him move, I'm going. And if I get picked off, well, we'll talk about it. He finally threw to first.
Check swing.
And I've talked to other managers, and they've told their players, listen, if you get picked off, that's on me. But if you don't get a big enough lead and go, then we're wasting our time trying to create, we're not taking advantage of what he's given us.
Lester combats all that by being quick to the plate. And as you said, David Ross, that back pick throwing behind the runner to first base when the lead gets too big. 2-2. Good block by Ross. Full count.
David Ross takes more pleasure with his relationship with John Lester. He only really plays once every 5 days, so when he plays, he feels it's must-win day, and he's doing everything he can to work his pitcher through the ball game to give the team and himself the best chance for success.
Full count. We'll see if Gonzalez goes from first. Stays put. Ball 4, 2 on, 1 out. And I'm hearing the same thing you are with George Lombard, the first base coach, pleading with Adrian Gonzalez to get a bigger lead. Now it's 2 on, 1 out, and the batter's Jock Peterson.
Jock Peterson Everybody knows about his power, but he has really, really struggled. This is the power that got him going off of Max Scherzer the other way.
That was in the 7th inning, game 5, and that tied the game at 1. And they were just getting started in that game. 7th inning, top half, and Peterson tied it.
Yeah, he really has to control the count. What I mean is it's got to be in his favor. He has to be hitting with the advantage in the count. If he's behind in the count, he virtually rarely gets any hits at 104. So he's got to pick one up that he likes, and he'll be on attack mode.
Showing bunt, pulling back from ball 1. They seem to be putting a little bit more in the mind of John Lester than the Giants had at least the opportunity to do in that game 1 of the division series.
Yeah, because he's not going to bunt there. The pitcher's behind him. He's just trying to make it or put as many thoughts as he can in John Lester's head.
Okay, 1 out.
1 ball, 1 strike. Lead runner is Adrian Gonzalez, does not run well. The trail runner is Kike Hernandez. He does. Jock Peterson is trying to give his Dodgers a jolt here in the 2nd. 25 home runs during the regular season, drove home 68. Inside, 2-1. Lester, a 2nd-round pick by the Boston Red Sox back in 2002. Came up in 06 and then was diagnosed with lymphoma in late August. Came back, and by the end of 07, won the clinching game of the World Series. That's strike 2. He is a tough young man, 32 years old, and a grizzled postseason vet.
When you've been through all those kind of moments, you're not shaken by anything, really. It's a perfect resume for a guy who's had the success in the postseason and now hoping to have the success with the Cubs.
This game just creeping along as Lester's taking a long time. Hitters stepping out. Two on, 1 out. There's a lot of familiarity. You talked about the relationship between the catcher David Ross and the guy on the mound. Lester is 48-23 and 4-3 in the postseason when working to David Ross. So trying to figure out a way to get Jock Peterson. They figured it out. 2 down.
Well, just too big of a swing. Peterson has all kind of power. But right there, that power of Lester put it right back in the heart of the zone. You know, with Peterson, they actually got him to take pepper to utilize the strike zone and give him more awareness of the bat and the command of what you got to have in this. And he's gotten better, but left-handers still give him an awful time.
And they have to have you explain pepper.
Yeah, do it right here.
2 on, 2 out. Adrian Gonzalez is a mile off second base, and Lester looks at him and smiles. With the pitcher Maeda at the plate.
Well, Pepper, basically you got 4 guys that you're about 10 feet away, and they each throw you the ball, and you have to control the bat to hit it to each guy, and that gives you bat control. And when it first started out for Peterson, he was hitting rockets.
Maeda with a chance. Left side, base hit. Here comes Gonzalez. We'll have a play at the plate. Throw home in time. Inning over. delivers the hit. Zobrist delivers a one-hop strike. And with a tag by Ross, the Cubs still lead by 1.
Heroes like the Avengers protect the world from physical dangers. We safeguard it against more mystical threats.
Come with me.
Why aren't you showing this to me?
Because I believe you can save the world and defend it from those who would make it their own. Are you ready, Mr. Strange?
It's Doctor, actually.
Rated PG-13. Get tickets now.
I'm Jamie Foxx for Verizon. In the nation's largest independent study by Root Metrics, again, Verizon is the #1 network.
Hi, I'm Jamie Foxx for Sprint. And I'm Jamie Foxx for T-Mobile. And we're just as good.
Really? Only Verizon was ranked #1 nationally in data, reliability, text and call and speed. Yeah. And you're gonna fist pump to that? Get out of my sight.
Don't get fooled by a cut rate network. Verizon gives you tons of data without all the restrictions. Get 20 gigs and 4 lines for only $160 with no surprise overages on America's best network.
They say a lot of things about rain. Like how hard it's gonna fall. The things it does to your parade. We've got a saying about rain too. When it rains, it roars. The all-wheel drive Charger. Domestic, not domesticated.
Now get 20% off MSRP cash allowance for an average of $8,000 in savings on select 2016 Charger RT models in dealer stock.
Ezekiel Elliott and the Cowboys collide with Aaron Rodgers and the Packers. It all begins at noon Eastern, followed by a full day of action on Fox.
Sure as God made green apples, someday the Chicago Cubs are going to be in the World Series, and maybe sooner than we think.
The Chicago Cubs select Chris Bryant, third baseman from the University of San Diego, California.
Towering blast for Chris Bryant. Way back. It's gone.
Hi, everybody. This is Pat Hughes. The Chicago Cubs are having one of their greatest seasons of all time. To commemorate this, BigTimeBats.com is releasing the 2016 Chicago Cubs team signature bat. The full-size bat will have the facsimile signatures of the Cubs team and their final regular season record on the bat. The bat is limited to 2016 individually numbered bats and sells for $129.95. Call Big Time Bats now at 1-866-280-BATS.
Well, a couple of vets came together at home plate. It was Adrian Gonzalez and the tag by David Ross, and it wasn't close.
Yeah, but the secondary lead, he starts going back when the ball's hit. That little movement right there could very well cost Gonzalez. When you have a huge lead, you're worried about the batter swinging through and maybe the back pick. At that point with the pitcher, you see right here a better example. Watch him go back. That's all it takes. 2 outs. When the batter swings, you got to be prepared as a base runner to get the biggest lead and the biggest jump. We talked about Gonzalez doesn't have a lot of speed. He needs all the advantage he can get with a runner on second when he's at second with 2 outs.
It'll be Jason Hayward to lead it off for the Cubs in the bottom of the second, then Baez, then Ross. Against Kenta Maeda, who delivered the hit with 2 out in the top of this inning. Breaking ball is down, and ironically, that ball found its way between Bryant and Addison Russell. Had either one been able to knock it down and keep it on the infield, the Dodgers have bases loaded, 2 out, and Kendrick coming up. But it found its way through. The third base coach, Chris Woodward, sent Adrian Gonzalez to the plate, and Ben Zobrist says, "Thank you very much." I'll get on the highlight reel with a throw to the plate to end the inning. 2-0 the count on Hayward. That's a strike. Looks like Maeda's got pretty good life to that fastball here tonight.
Well, he had good life early on in his last start against the Nationals, and then the 2-strike hit started coming.
Hayward had a disappointing season any way you look at it. Now the count 2-2. Signed a big deal to come to Chicago after spending the year before in St. Louis and hit just .230 with 7 home runs, 49 RBIs. And This is an off-season project, and I'm sure he knows it, but right now he can make that season disappear if at any point during the series he comes up with big hits for the Cubs. The season is not what he wanted by any means. Leading off the second for Chicago, and that's going to keep it 2-2. You know, with Maeda, when he came over here, Dave Roberts, Rick Honeycutt trying to convince him his fastball needs to be used. You can only convince a pitcher if he has confidence in it. He likes spinning the ball. He likes his off speed. That's what he'll throw more times than not. But as you mentioned, Joe, his fastball is still good enough in the big leagues. Pitching in and out, however, is not one of his strengths. 2-2 pitch. Hayward hits a rocket into the right field corner. He'll have at least 2. He'll think about 3. He'll go. He'll make it. Leadoff triple. Well, here's the two-seamer that he's trying to get in. See how much more of the plate it covers? That's the one area that Hayward can handle. Up, down, in, not so much. He can also run. Everyone knows about his speed and defense. In a series that has Hill and Kershaw, don't know how many opportunities he'll have. This has got to feel good. And now the Dodgers are going to bring their infield in with the number 7 hitter Javier Baez coming up. Leadoff triple, and the guy who would have won the Division Series MVP award if there was one handed out was digging in for Chicago. He's become a fan favorite. Infield is in. Ball 1 upstairs to Baez. See, that may be nothing to most people, but that take right there 2 years ago, no chance. He has made so many progressions in his short time as a big leaguer. Of course, they're trying to cut down the big leg kick, but he's cutting down on his strikeouts. And that was a huge hit off of Strickland, as you see, to go ahead for the Cubs. Maeda now onto the windup, and with a squeeze on, Baez fouls it back to the screen. Madden pulling out the squeeze play here in the second. Well, the mechanics of this, he just jabs at it right there. No need to jab, just square around. At this point, you can put it in any position. Nobody's crowding the plate. You see him jab right there. That's not going to get it done. That was more in the category of a safety squeeze than Hayward busting it down the line. Either way, it's a foul. It count 1 ball, 1 strike. Strike 2 on Baez. One reason, John, why Joe Madden didn't move Baez up higher in the lineup. He said that leg kick might get a little bigger if he was batting in the number 5 spot for us, and he missed that by 20.
Yeah, and that's where you got to go. You would stay right there if you're Maeda, and you could throw a curveball, slider anywhere off the plate. It's going to be difficult for Baez.
Now a 1 ball, 2 strike count. Off the end of the bat, shallow center, long run. Hernandez will not get there. 2-0. Cubs lead into second. Baez hustling with an RBI double.
Again, contact, and he knows as soon as he hits this, he's going to turn on the burners. Already once he didn't come out of the box firing, and it cost him in a slide at second base. But this time, once he knows that's going to get over there in the infield, and he says, I got a chance. He does like sliding head first. And you see, baseball IQ for this young man's pretty high.
So it goes down as an off the end of the bat RBI double. And just to put a number to what you've talked about, John, you're in the Hall of Fame because you knew how to put guys away with 2 strikes. In this postseason against Kenta Maeda, hitters are 7 for 13 with 2 strikes.
Yeah, that one's a little tough break, but Maeda really trying to get in some kind of zone. The goal is to get to 2 strikes. He's done that.
In this postseason for the Cubs, 9 leadoff hitters in an inning have reached. 6 of those 9 have scored, and that includes in the first and second innings of tonight. Here's Ross. Runner at second, still nobody out. Center field and barely having to move is Jock Peterson. Tagging Baez, stays put, 1 out. Maeda will try to do what he did in the first inning. Runner at second, nobody out, a run home, and try and keep it a 1-run frame.
Well, John Lester, perfect scenario for a pitcher. You got nothing to lose here. Runner on second. You get to swing. Runner been on first. You're going to bunt. He's gotten better. He's been taking some pride. The staff is filled with some decent hitters. Hamill and, of course, Arrieta. Arrieta should win, I would think, the Silver Slugger for pitchers.
Between he and Bumgarner. Those two hooked up in game 3 of the division series. Meanwhile, Lester, you saw the average 6 for 59. Swinging the bat. Got a little leg kick, and he takes outside, ball 1. He's no give up. That's for sure at the plate. And the pitchers in the division series for the Cubs hit .333 and drove home 6 of the 17 in the RBI column for Chicago against the Giants. The 2 home runs. Good swing by Lester. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Yeah, he's joking with him. He said, my swing's better. It's just the contact's not where I'd like it to be.
They've been playing baseball on this site since 1914. Wrigley Field is buzzing here tonight. 2-0 Chicago. Lester trying to add to it. That gets away, and going to third is Baez.
Well, now the Dodgers are going to have to bring in the corner infielders because the safety squeeze, which has been tried and used and successful by Joe Maddon, now you got that element where you don't know if the pitcher's going to do it. And as a base runner, you're just reading the play. Unless it's a suicide squeeze, the pitcher knows he gets a pitch. You see Ruiz here on the breaking ball. I don't know if he hit the front of the plate, the back, and the backhand just couldn't corral the ball.
The infield now weigh in. There was a short meeting on the mound. And the other bonus for the Cubs is the count is in the favor of John Lester at 2-1.
Key for Baez, he's going to have to get a good walking lead.
That is Baez coming to the plate. He is safe. 3-0. Madden wants to smile. Baez down the line too far and took off. And it worked.
You could tell he's looking at his manager already. He got aggressive and then said, well, I'm done. And the only way I can make something happen is to not stop whatsoever. That aggression got a little lucky. And a run for the Cubs.
It's a steal of home for Javier Baez, who's doing everything right. Even the mistakes work out. It's 3-0 Chicago. 3-1 to Lester is on the outside corner, a full count. The last steal for the Cubs of home in the postseason. That's a walk to Lester. It was 1907. In Game 4. Meanwhile, obviously, it was all World Series in the postseason back then. Their last championship coming in 1908. There, I've said it. I got it out there, and I'm sure we'll be wearing you out with that as this series goes on. But Baez said, why not?
You know, so much is talked about Yasiel Puig and some of the things that he has done and not done for the Dodgers, partly due to his demotion. This kid plays aggressive, but it's calculated. And sometimes you'll have a scenario like that, but it's not all the time.
Here's Fowler getting one off the end of the bat. That'll stay in play for Turner at third. 2 out. I also think Baez has been honest with himself. A former first-round pick. He's still a young man, but he's seen other prospects now shoot past him in this organization. The strikeouts 2 years ago, less of a taste of the big leagues last year. He worked hard on becoming a more controlled hitter, and consequently has had more at-bats. He's taken over at second, and they've reaped the benefits of his great hands defensively. 1 on, 2 out. Bryant, ball 1.
And just the fact that he can play multiple positions gives him the luxury of, yeah, you as a big leaguer, you want to hold one position down. You want to be an everyday player. You want to hit 40 home runs. You want to do all those things. But to your point, he's realized, I've got to make changes. And those changes are slowly coming. And now you can consider him an everyday player, because at some point in every game, he's going to play a position for Joe Madden.
This should end the inning. On the infield, it's Kike Hernandez, but it's a 2-run frame. As the Cubs add to their lead, it started with a bullet into right and a triple for Jason Hayward. And one off the end of the bat by Baez, who would steal home, make it 3-0 Chicago after 2.
There's free shipping on this XPS 13 and everything else at Dell.com. Remember when they used to say free shipping and handling? Whatever happened to the handling? Well, that's right. I do all the handling.
Can you handle this laptop before we ship it, Nick? Thanks.
Well, I'm happy to help. There's free shipping and handling on everything at Dell.com. Okay.
For years, I've trained dogs for the Marines. And like me, some of these dogs have seen many tours of duty. And for the past 15 years, I've been a Navy Federal member. Thanks to their fast approval process, when it came time to buy a new car, we got everything we needed to transport my wife's little bundle of joy, who I just adore.
Open to the armed forces, the DoD, and their families. Navy Federal Credit Union.
Hey, you're the...
I used to ask if you could hear me now, but I switched to Sprint.
I switched too.
Great.
Have you seen all the whining from Verizon?
I think Verizon the Goliath is panicking. People are switching to Sprint. All these networks are great now. People are tired of overpaying.
Sprint cut my rates by 50%.
Sprint's network covers nearly 300 million people, and their network reliability is within 1% of Verizon. Can you hear that?
Switch to Sprint and save 50% on most current Verizon, AT&T, and T-Mobile rates.
I'm Thomas, and I quit smoking with Chantix. I finally broke out of my man shell. Went to the doctor, told him I needed help quitting smoking. He prescribed Chantix, and it worked.
Along with support, Chantix Varenicline is proven to help people quit smoking.
Chantix really reduced my urge to smoke.
Some people had changes in behavior, thinking or mood, hostility, agitation, depressed mood, and suicidal thoughts or actions while taking or after stopping Chantix. Some reported seizures or sleepwalking with Chantix. If you have any of these, stop Chantix and call your doctor right away. Tell your doctor about any history of mental health problems, which could get worse, or of seizures. Don't take Chantix if you've had a serious allergic or skin reaction to it. If you have these, stop Chantix and call your doctor right away, as some can be life-threatening. Tell your doctor if you have heart or blood vessel problems or develop new or worse symptoms. Get medical help right away if you have symptoms of a heart attack or stroke. Decrease alcohol use while taking Chantix. Use caution driving or operating machinery. Most common side effect is nausea.
Quitting changed my life.
Ask your doctor if Chantix is right for you.
Wendy's Taco Salad is back.
Wendy's had a taco salad?
Wendy's had a taco salad. Fresh chopped lettuce and tomatoes, classic chili, and tortilla chips. If you remember Wendy's Taco Salad, you're welcome. If you don't, you will.
Top of the order for the Dodgers. Third inning, 3-0 Chicago on top. John Lester back to work. Kendrick shows bunt, takes a strike. We are pleased to be joined by Jake Arrieta down in the Cubs dugout. Jake gets a chance to watch this with the rest of us. He's got the ball in game 3 at this point. Coming up in Los Angeles in a few days. Here's Kendrick popping one up right side and
come on,
out of play. Let's talk about your second baseman there, Jake. Even the mistakes are working out. This guy is electric right now.
I mean, guys, you can't make it up. It's almost like you just let him go out there and play the game, at his speed, and you live with the physical mistakes. This guy's, his instincts are, second to none, and it's just fun to watch him grow and continue to develop and produce for us.
0-2 the count on Kendrick, who grounded out his first time. Lester deals it. Ball one outside. It's also been fun to watch you grow. It's really remarkable. I know you're worn out by the talk of it, but as you prepare for this start coming up in game 3, here comes a 1-2 pitch. Before I deliver the hard-hitting question, Kendrick fights it off. Your growth has been nothing short of miraculous. How do you feel at this point this season? I know you had the big year last year, reigning Cy Young, but how do you feel right now?
Well, I physically I feel great. I think one thing that I've been lacking almost all season is my cutter, and that's something that I was able to. Let's get there. All right, we got a guy there.
His name is Fowler, 1 out.
So as I was saying, I haven't had a consistent feel for that pitch for most of the season, but it's something I've continued to work on and try and harness and find in my side sessions, and now I have the opportunity and the ability to use it whenever I need to. So it's something that's taken a while for me to get that comfort back, but I feel like it's in a good spot now, and I like really everything else that I feature. I feel like is locked in pretty good, but really I just think continuing to try and learn, and especially from a guy like this and Lester and Lackey, has really helped me continue to get better.
On that note, because you went and you were having a historic year last year and you were pushed to the tilt, what did you do in the offseason, and what have you learned in the regular season as you guys had a huge lead and you could not have to be going after it as much? Have you made any adjustments year to year?
Well, I took a little bit more time off this offseason, and
here's one into right center field. There's Fowler. He's got it. 2 down.
I'll tell you what, boys, it's fun having a guy like that out there. Ooh.
And it brings up a bigger point for you, for John, for whoever's on the mound. What a luxury to work in front of this defense.
Well, and in a small park like this, the wind's blown in for a significant amount of the season, and really being able to, attack the hitters, force the issue, and allow these guys to put the ball in play and let the guys work behind us. Like you said, our guys out there, the 8 behind us, are pretty incredible.
So 2 out, nobody on. The batter, Seager. Corey Seager singled his first time with 2 out in the first and takes a strike.
Seriously, I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you. I don't know how many hole-in-ones you've had in golf, but a 3-run homer off a Bumgarner, can you describe it?
Well, I'll take that over hole-in-one any day. I mean, honestly, everyone knows, how good he is, especially in the postseason. And I knew he was getting fastballs by me up in the strike zone. I had a good idea that he was going to try that again. Try to take a nice easy swing and just find the barrel, whether it was a hole on the right side or line drive to the outfield. I was able to do that. I mean, that was a surreal feeling, really. Hearing the entire stadium pretty silent, other than our dugout, was pretty awesome.
1-2 the count on Corey Seager. This crowd comes alive. Lester has struck out 1. Last question. John Tudor once said, what does it take in the postseason for somebody to get a press pass? A driver's license? You got everybody down there asking you questions, Jake Arrieta, about history in 1908, 1945.
That's
blah,
right.
blah, blah, blah. I know that part wears you out, but I don't get the sense you guys feel the urgency that the rest of the world, or especially Cub fans, feel. You're just doing your thing.
We're enjoying it, boys. We really are.
Here's one.
We're having a great time, man. We're having a great time and not worried about the pressure.
Jake Arrieta is going to get a game 3. Thanks, man.
Thanks, bud.
All right,
Appreciate
bottom
it,
of the 3rd inning rolls in. Cubs coming up. They lead 3-0.
I can do this, but not without you, not without your faith.
He's coming out.
I can assassinate the president.
That's confirmed. He has been hit.
I walked into this hospital, and I want to walk out.
All set?
Killing Reagan, a movie event, premieres tomorrow at 8 on the National Geographic Channel.
This woman owns this house with new cabinets from this shop. With handles designed here, made here, shipped from here. On this plane, flown by this pilot who owns stock in this company that builds big things and provides benefits to this woman with new cabinets. They all have insurance crafted personally for them. Not just coverage, craftsmanship. Not just insured, Chubb insured. I have cervical cancer from an infection, human papillomavirus. Who knew HPV could lead to certain cancers? Who knew my risk for HPV would increase as I got older? Who knew that there was something that could have helped protect me from HPV when I was 11 or 12, way before I would even be exposed to it? Did you know, Mom? Dad?
I was infected with HPV. Maybe my parents didn't know how widespread HPV is. While HPV clears up for most, that wasn't the case for me. Maybe they didn't know I would end up with cancer because of HPV. Maybe if they had known there was a vaccine to help protect me when I was 11 or 12, maybe my parents just didn't know.
All right, Mom? Dad?
What will you say? Don't wait. Talk to your child's doctor today. Learn more at hpv.com.
I'm Jamie Foxx for Verizon, introducing LTE Advanced, powering America's largest and fastest 4G LTE network ever.
And I'm also Jamie Foxx for T-Mobile, also America's largest, fastest network ever.
Oh, you just repeating everything I said?
You just repeating everything I said?
I'm switching to Verizon right now.
I'm switching to Verizon right now.
There's no better time to switch to Verizon. Now get the next-gen network and the best value with no surprise overages. Switch and get 20 gigs and 4 lines for $160, all on America's best network.
Everybody wants to go. You like a rock, yeah, now you good to go. Nobody. Nah. Nobody wants to die.
Rated mature.
3-0. Cubs lead it. Anthony Rizzo first up. Zobrist and Addison Russell will follow against Kenta Maeda. Gave up 1, then 2. Strike 1 on Rizzo, who flied out his first time 1 for 16 this postseason. He is a guy who has seen the highs and the lows. Traded to the Cubs from San Diego and suffered through a 101 loss year in 2012. Now part of a 103 win team in 2016. Here's the 0-1.
Well, for Anthony Rizzo, he is their team leader. Obviously one of the veterans on the team, been here a long time. But he really became the team leader when he decided to challenge the entire Cincinnati Reds from the first base side, and now new teammate Aroldis Chapman. This is a moment here where the Cubs were not where they are now. He did not like this whatsoever. The two are fine now as teammates. He said, bring it on, every single one of you, let's go. That's when he changed, and the Cubs started to change as their fearless leader was ready to take them all on.
Here's a 1-2. Rizzo tied up, struck him out, and that's the first strikeout of the night for Maeda. It's like, who's coming with me? Turned around and nobody was there. Tonight's telecast is sponsored by T-Mobile One. Welcome to Unlimited Baseball. And by the Lincoln Motor Company. One out for Ben Zobrist. Plays Zobrist to pull on the infield. Maeda misses, makes the outside corner, and Zobrist Shoots a little look back at the home plate umpire and says, really? Strike one.
Zobrist has a unique little motor and those little hands that keep going right there, and they just wiggle back and forth. It's not prototypical or what you would teach, but it works for him. Asked Joe Madden about it. He said, yeah, you wouldn't teach a hitter to do that, too much movement. But from the left side, Zobrist has his power and certainly the command of the strike zone. Nobody knows him better than Joe Madden.
In this day and age, with as bad as starting pitching is, it's not the case for the Chicago Cubs. But having somebody like Zobrist and now Baez, Caesar as well on this Cubs roster when he's active. He's not active. Matt is not on the active roster for this or the last series. What a luxury for Joe Madden to be able to move guys around. You can carry extra pitchers. You can do so much with these two guys because they can literally do the have glove will travel route. And Madden certainly knows how to squeeze the most out of a roster, as David Roberts has done. And this is first year with the Dodgers as well. A one-out walk.
Well, I go all the way back to the Rays, and everybody said, okay, that's great. Joe Madden, a lot of tricks, a lot of sayings, a lot of this. Let's see him do it in the big market. Well, that's exactly what he's done, and he puts his players in positions to not be surprised for moments like this. In other words, multiple positions he'll play him in the field. He's got a lot of different lineups that he'll put out there. He wants his players prepared. It is not a tinker, look at me scenario. Everything's calculated, and a guy like Zobrist, who he knows real well, he can count on, to your point.
You can add Chris Bryant to that list too, because he can play the outfield. Here's Addison Russell as the Cubs hope he can get it going. Strike one. Addison grounded back to Maeda back in the first inning. Now he's 1 for 16 this postseason.
One of the sayings, embrace the target, started early for Joe Madden and the Cubs. One of many sayings. And he has a lot of themes that he'll have his team partake in. One of those is go and show. In other words, show up as late as you can. No BP. Calls it American Legion ball. When you get here, be ready to play because the season is long. So to say they're a loose bunch would be an understatement. They're having fun.
That's to third. Turner got one. Can't get. Oh, got him at first, and right away the first base coach Brandon Hyde says challenge that. We certainly look safe from up here. I think he looks safe for Brandon Hyde, and he is safe. This will be challenged, and this will be overturned.
Well, in the previous series against the Giants, there were a couple challenges that took a little too long. And I would say that after that, they went a lot quicker. This one will go a lot quicker.
Crowd knows it. They show it on the board. Dodgers know it. They're going back out into the field. It's the Dodgers and Cubs tomorrow on the air at 7 Eastern on FS1 Game 2. And that matchup of Kyle Hendricks against Clayton Kershaw. Then the Indians and Blue Jays after their travel day. There's the reversal. And that's Monday, Game 3. Off to Canada they go. Indians and Blue Jays with Cleveland up 2-0. Talk about droughts. It's been since 1948 that the Cleveland Indians have won it all. And in their first ALCS since the 2007 season, they've beaten a really good hitting club. 2-0 and 2-1 in the first 2 games of this series.
Yeah, I always say be careful of the team with the biggest chip on their shoulder. And I think the Cleveland Indians got a huge chip when everyone thought, oh, your staff's been beaten and battered and hurt. You got no chance. All they've done is won every game.
Hayward tripled leading off the second, scored on a off the bench blooper off the back of Baez. Good play here by Kike Hernandez. Now the inning is over. We played 3 in Game 1 at Wrigley Field, and the Chicago Cubs lead the Dodgers 3-0.
Bum, 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 bum.
Just the two of us.
exhilarating 2017 Lincoln MKZ for $349 a month, only at your Lincoln dealer.
I spent many years as a nuclear missile launch officer. If the president gave the order we had to launch the missiles, that would be it. I prayed that call would never come. Self-control may be all that keeps these missiles from firing.
I would bomb the out of them. I want to be unpredictable. I love war.
The thought of Donald Trump with nuclear weapons scares me to death. It should scare everyone.
I'm Hillary Clinton, and I approve this message.
How tall are you?
How do we measure greatness in America? It's measured by what we do for our children. It's why, as president, I'll invest in our schools, in college that leads to opportunities, not debt, and an economy where every young American can find a job that lets them start a family of their own. I've spent my life fighting for kids and families. I want our success to be measured by theirs. I'm Hillary Clinton, and I approve this message.
MLB.com At Bat, the official postseason app of Major League Baseball.
A lot of W's all over the city of Chicago. The Art Institute of Chicago carved into somebody's due. 3-0 Cubs on top. Fourth inning rolls in. They fly that W flag. Not that specific one at the end of games here at Wrigley Field when they end up on top. They lead 3-0. Time for the Dodgers to get to work. Middle part of the order. The count goes to 2-0. Puig, Adrian Gonzalez, and Carlos Ruiz for LA.
Well, the Dodgers have had some great swings off of Lester. He hasn't been as sharp as he was last start. Of course, he gave up no runs in a gem 1-0 victory against the Giants. But he has 3 runs to work with.
Puig fouls it back 2-1.
The Cubs, for the most part during the year, look, their defense is so good. I don't care if you shift or not shift. They're athletic. So the batting average ball in play per pitcher on this staff is going to go down. But what they also were able to do is pitch with a lot of runs because they provided them with a lot of runs.
That's outside. 3-1. Well, this Cubs team scored the 3rd most runs in baseball. 2nd in the National League of Colorado. 3-1 pitch. Puig grounds to Bryant. Gets the end of that big hop and gets the out. 1 away. Why don't we give you a season review of the Cubs? They get out of the gate great. They started the season 25-6. They had 22 wins in August. The most of any month since September of 1945, the year they last got to the World Series. And there you go. The pitchers, what they've done. The opponent's batting average just .212 against. And the offense putting up a lot of runs, a lot of moving parts, and a run differential of plus 250. That means they scored more than they gave up. At the best rate in baseball. That's a strike to Adrian Gonzalez.
And on the other side, as much as Joe Madden had a lot to work with, Dave Roberts probably should win the Manager of the Year award. Because for the Dodgers and their payroll, they've had to use 15 starters. We mentioned that. They've had to use more pieces. Clayton Kershaw goes down. They're 8 games back of the Giants. No chance. And they're here competing and going to try to do their best to knock off the Cubs. He has done a fantastic job.
The job he did in Game 5 alone, that division series, he was ready. He was ready with Jansen, his closer, in the 7th inning. He was ready when Clayton Kershaw said, I'm available tonight. He brought him in with Murphy. I mean, he has had to create. He goes out to the mound more than any manager in the game, more than any ever has, making pitching changes this season for the Dodgers. 2 out.
And let me just put a couple things to bed for all you people out there that are fantastically excited about sabermetrics and analytics. There's a lot of value in that, but this system can't win year in and year out. What I mean by he's done a marvelous job this year, but you can't lead the league in innings pitched out of the bullpen and expect that team to carry that throughout the entire postseason. You have to have some starters develop innings, but they were able to do it in a 5-game series. We're going to see what happens in a 7-game series, but not signing Greinke and then utilizing a lot of starters to get you to this point. He's done a great job, but it's not the norm. What you mentioned in Game 5, you can't do that in a regular season game. So what he was able to do by using all his weapons, he's got the Dodgers fighting to compete to go to the World Series.
Carlos Ruiz took a strike, now a ball. 2 out, nobody on after Puig grounded out and Gonzalez struck out. Ruiz hit a liner to third and almost took the glove of Chris Bryant with it into left his first time, and now a line drive foul left side. 1-2 the count. And if a manager in baseball should ever have his own shoe deal to promote some sort of shoe, even floor shine, whatever it is, it's Dave Roberts, because he's walking out there to take the ball more than anybody.
And typically you saw all those teams' records, not one of them was over 500 except for Dave Roberts.
What a job. Should be, as John said, manager of the year. That's into left center. That's Fowler. That's caught. Flash and leather all October are the Cubs so far. He broke his belt, but he made the grab. Somebody get Dexter Fowler a new belt. 3-0 after 3.5 at Wrigley.
You can't always protect her. Make sure her tires will. The Michelin Premier Tire with EverGrip technology. Even when half worn, it's still safe. Safe when new, safe when worn.
I had so many thoughts once I left the hospital after a DVT blood clot. What about my wife? What we're building together? And could this happen again? I was given warfarin in the hospital, but wondered, was this the best treatment for me? I spoke to my doctor, and she told me about Eliquis. Eliquis treats DVT and PE blood clots and reduces the risk of them happening again. Not only does Eliquis treat DVT and PE blood clots, but Eliquis also had significantly less major bleeding than the standard treatment. Knowing Eliquis had both turned around my thinking.
Don't stop Eliquis unless your doctor tells you to. Eliquis can cause serious and, in rare cases, fatal bleeding. Don't take Eliquis if you have an artificial heart valve or abnormal bleeding. If you had a spinal injection while on Eliquis, call your doctor right away if you have tingling, numbness, or muscle weakness. While taking Eliquis, you may bruise more easily, and it may take longer than usual for bleeding to stop. Seek immediate medical care for sudden signs of bleeding, like unusual bruising. Eliquis may increase your bleeding risk if you take certain medicines. Tell your doctor about all planned medical or dental procedures.
Eliquis treats DVT and PE blood clots, plus had less major bleeding. Both made switching to Eliquis right for me. Ask your doctor if it's right for you.
Stop. With that box, you'll be the first to win PlayStation VR. Player one. Soon, it spreads like wildfire. Humanity becomes so plugged in, we never see them coming. That's why I was sent back to stop you.
Oh, hey, I won.
Right.
The future of gaming starts at Taco Bell. Grab any $5 box and you can be one of the first to win PlayStation VR.
Hey, Evan. So, you're stuck at a work thing. With DirecTV and AT&T, you can stream all your favorite shows without using your data. That makes you more powerful than a table for 60.
Wednesdays are the new Thursdays.
Or the mandatory after party.
How early is too early to leave?
You're not going anywhere.
I'm not going anywhere.
It's your TV. Take it with you. Watch all your live channels on your devices data-free.
I'm Keith Hernandez.
I'm Walt Clyde Frazier.
Hold the show.
That gray beard is a no-go.
In 5 easy minutes, put Just for Men in it.
Here's the kicker, your beard will look thicker.
Guys,